everybody. Welcome to The Borrowers by Mary Norton. We're going to do The Borrowers Afield. Throughout this reading, you're going to be taking picture notes. Don't forget, you need a paper, a pencil, marker, whatever you need to do to draw your pictures. As I read, don't forget that you're going to be drawing pictures that are going to remind you of the reading. Okay, so if it's something that catches your attention, go ahead and draw it. Okay, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about. As I'm reading, if I'm reading, the cat is jumping on top of the dog. So the cat, this is a funny looking cat, but you're going to draw your cat, and then here's the dog, and you draw the dog, and you listen for what's coming up next. So the cat is jumping on top of the dog, and then you keep drawing. Okay, as long as you're listening to the story, you're just jotting down your notes. Okay, this will help you when we reach the end of the book to write your summary of what you have, the summary of the book, you know, from beginning to end. Okay, so here we go. Chapter 1, The Borrowers Afield by Mary Norton. It was Kate who, long after she was grown up, completed the story of the borrowers. She wrote it all out, many years later, for her 4 children, and compiled it as you would compile a case history or a biographical novel from all kinds of evidence, things she remembered, things she had been told, and 1 or 2 things, we had better confess it, at which she had just guessed. The most remarkable piece of evidence was a miniature Victorian notebook, with a gilt-edged pages, discovered by Kate in a gamekeeper's cottage on the Studdington estate near Leighton Buzzard, Bedfordshire. Old Tom Goodenough, the gamekeeper, who never wanted the story put in writing, but as he had been dead for so many years, and as Kate's children were so very much alive, she thought perhaps that wherever he might be, and with a name like Goodenough, it was bound to be in heaven. He would have overcome this kind of prejudice and would by now perhaps forgive her and understand. Anyway, Kate, after some thought, decided to take the risk. When Kate had been a child herself and was living with her parents in London, an old lady shared their home. She was, I think, some kind of relation. Her name was Mrs. May, and it was Mrs. May on those long winter evenings beside the fire when she was teaching Kate to crochet, who had first told Kate about the borrowers. Crocheting is knitting. It's a form of knitting. Excuse me. At the time, Kate never doubted their existence. A race of tiny creatures, as like to humans as makes no matter, who live their secret lives under the floors and behind the walls of certain quite old homes. It was only later that she began to wonder, and how wrong she was very soon found out. There were still to be, had she only known it, developments more unlooked for and extraordinary than any Mrs. May had dreamed of. The original story had smacked a little of hearsay, Mrs. May admitted, in fact, had been at some pains of convince Kate that she, Mrs. May, had never actually seen a borrower herself. Any knowledge of such beings she had gained a second hand from her younger brother, who she admitted was a little boy and not only a vivid imagination, but well known to be a tease. So there you were, Kate decided, thinking if over afterwards you could take it or leave it. And truth to be told, in the year or so which followed, she tended rather to leave it. The story of the borrowers became pushed away in the back of Kate's mind with other childish fantasies. During this year, she changed her school, made new friends, acquired a dog, took up skating, and learned to ride a bicycle. And there was no thought of borrowers in Kate's mind, nor did the notice of the undercurrent of excitement in Mrs. May's unusually calm voice. When one morning at breakfast in early spring, Mrs. May passed a letter across the table saying, "This will interest you, Kate, I think." It didn't interest Kate one bit. She was about 11 years old at the time. She read it through twice in a bewildered kind of way, but could make neither head nor tail of it. It was a lawyer's letter from a firm called Jobson, Thring, Begede, and Begede. Not only was it full of long words like beneficiary, but even the medium-sized words were arranged in such a manner that, to Kate, they made no sense at all. What, for instance, could vacate possession mean? However much you thought about it, could only describe a state of affairs which was manifestly quite impossible. Names that were in plenty: Studdington, Goodenough, Amberforce, Pocklington, and quite a family of people who spelled their name deceased with a small d. "Thank you very much," Kate said politely, passing it back. "I thought perhaps," said Mrs. May, and her cheeks, Kate noticed, seemed slightly flushed as though with shyness. "You might like to go down with me." "Go down where?" asked Kate in her vagrant manner. "My dear Kate," exclaimed Mrs. May, "what was the point of showing you the letter?" Langton Buzzard. Years afterwards, when Kate described this scene to her children, she would tell them how at these words her heart began to thump long before her mind and their meaning. Langton Buzzard. She knew the name, of course, the name of an English country town, somewhere in Bedfordshire, wasn't it? "Where Great Aunt Sophie's house was," said Mrs. May, prompting her. "Where my brother used to say he saw the Bowers." And before Kate could get back her breath, she went on, in a matter-of-fact voice, "I have been left a little cottage, part of the Studdington estate, and—" Her color deepened, as though what she was about to say now might sound slightly incredible. £355. Enough, she added, in a happy wonderment. "To do it up?" Kate was silent. She stared at Mrs. May, her clasped hands passed against her middle as though to still the beating of her heart. "Could we see the house?" she said at last, a kind of croak in her voice. "Of course, that's why we're going. I mean the big house, Aunt Sophie's house." "Oh, that house." Firkbank Hall, it was called. Mrs. May seemed a little taken back. "I don't know. We could ask, perhaps. It depends, of course, of whoever is living there now." "I mean," Kate went on, with controlled eagerness, "even if we couldn't go inside, you could show me the grating and Ariadne's bank, and even if they opened the front door only ever so little, you could show me where the clock was. You could kind of point with your finger quickly." And as Mrs. May still seemed to hesitate, Kate added suddenly, on a note of anguish, "You did believe in them, didn't you? Or was it," her voice faltered, "only a story?" "And what if there were only a story?" said Mrs. May quickly. "So long as it was a good story." "Keep your sense of wonder, child, and don't be so literal. Anything we haven't experienced for ourselves sounds like a story. All we can ever do is sift the evidence." Kate, I'm going to stop right there. We really didn't quite finish chapter 1. It's a pretty long chapter, but we will see you later for the next reading. Bye. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.